Creatures of the night, it's your girl Tati. Let's talk about Ring of Honor. Now, I did say like less than 2 weeks ago that I'll just come up with my own motherfucking card because like this time last week they really didn't have anything going for the show, which I thought was like actually insane for us to literally be 2 weeks away. Well, actually 1 week now. From this pay-per-view, and literally nothing was done. There haven't really been much going on the shows on a weekly basis to even suggest what they would have went with in terms of this pay-per-view. Personally, I am not a fan of last second booking. You have a weekly show, that is enough time to get people invested into a pay-per-view. Typically Supercard of Honor is in March, April. Somehow the show had got all the way pushed back to the All-In Weekend, which is literally a week away, and I don't know how or why that ended up happening, but here we are. For me, I really do feel like as consumers, you know, our opinions matter. So like even me sitting here just talking about shit that I would like to see, if they're watching, go ahead and take my ideas. But I feel like it's really important that if you have a product, for you to be listening to the fans. I'm not saying like take every suggestion from everybody, but you have to keep in consideration that, hey, you know, this product used to be something that people love and adore and cherish. And right now, I can't necessarily say anybody truly feels that way about the current state of Ring of Honor. We have a $10 fee for the Honor Club, and sometimes I don't even know why I'm paying that $10. And I think other people might feel the same way. So I'm really hoping that, especially with this pay-per-view, that this is like the beginning of like I don't want to say a new era, but just for them to just step it up a notch, a whole bunch of notches, and just do so much better than what they have been doing. Now, since I said that I was going to just put my own card together, a couple of matches did come together for the shows, and some of them I'm just like, all right, it's cool. I'm cool with seeing this, and there's a couple of them that honestly I just feel like I don't want to see this shit at all. So the matches that we already have announced so far is Athena versus Thunder Rosa. We have Bandito going against Takeshita. And then we also have Lee Moriarty going against Blue Panther. And then we have also the Sons of Texas going against the Infantry. Now, some of these things is just like, I just don't know. They just put all these things literally together in the past week or so. Well, less than a week so far. And for me, I feel like, I don't know if people are invested, but we do know that regardless, these wrestlers are going to give us a really great show. So here is my ideas in terms of what I would have done if I were to be booking the Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor pay-per-view. So the first thing I did was I went on AEW's roster page and I looked at everybody that's on there, and I split who I would make more of a focus on Ring of Honor versus AEW. These people don't really get featured that much on there anyway, or they probably get some TV time but never really win there. So I split that up, not necessarily to say that this is like a permanent thing, but at least to have those people that have a little bit of TV time on Ring of Honor. So obviously pre-shows, and for pre-shows it's usually always featured on YouTube for people to, you know, at least see that first hour and a half of getting people hyped up for the show, and for people to, you know, go ahead and get a little purchase for the pay-per-view. So the first thing that I would honestly do on a pre-show is to have a video package of what Ring of Honor has been doing since Tony Khan has purchased it. Also showing like clips of some of the best moments since they had, you know, purchased Ring of Honor, from pay-per-views or TV shows, from matches. Also showing people like who are these people part of the roster that are like heavily focused on Ring of Honor. So all that just to get people who are watching the pre-show, because like I said, it's a free show, a little bit more of a publicity for them to feel like, okay, well, so-and-so is on there. Oh, look at all these cool moments of matches that have already taken place. Maybe this is something that I want to invest my money in. And not only just what's been happening under Tony Khan, but to also show certain things that have happened within the past so people could know that, hey, if you get the Honor Club, not only are you going to see what we're doing now, but you can always go look back at some of the best of Ring of Honor and go back and watch those episodes, those pay-per-views, and just, bask in the glory of the heyday of Ring of Honor, which is also another good selling point as well. Basically, just promote yourselves like what they should be doing. This is something that they actually don't do on AEW TV, which is actually insane to me. Like, you have AEW that is getting hundreds and thousands of views on a weekly basis, but y'all just, I personally cannot tell you anytime that I've actually seen them promote a Ring of Honor on that show. So the least y'all can do is just do that shit on YouTube. So to start off the pre-show, we do have our champion Athena, who is making her way in the building with Billy Starks, and as she's coming into the building, she gets stopped by Diamante. Now, Diamante was supposed to have some kind of alliance, kind of being Athena's heavy in the group while she was supposed to ditch Billy Starks, and this only happened for one episode, and they just kind of split the whole thing. I don't know why they didn't actually went with this idea, but for my fantasy booking, I'm just bringing that back up because I feel like this is definitely could go somewhere really, really great. So Diamante stops her and say, hey, I thought we were supposed to be cool. I thought we were supposed to, be part of a little minion world domination thing. And Athena goes and say, hey, if you win the women's TV Rumble match, which is going to be featured on the main card later on, then we can talk about you being my minion number one. Now, Diamante, she smiles, walks away, and Billy Starks is standing behind Athena like, bitch, what the fuck? I thought I was your girl. Like, what you got going on here with Diamante? So they end up moving off from that. Now we have Trouble in Paradise backstage, while we have tag teams in turmoil arguing about the lack of a, I don't want to say a tag division, but more of like a lack of title defenses, and them seeing the tag champions, which is the Sons of Texas, which is Dustin and Sammy Guevara. So they're really, really upset that they're not, being featured on the show, and for that to be more opportunities for other tag teams to be on. Now, for this, it's going to be Gates of Agony, the Infantry, Top Flight, and the Workhorsemen. These guys are all backstage and they're arguing about the whole thing. And then Jerry Lynn comes into the room and just like, look, fellas, pipe down. I understand that y'all feeling some type of way, but Dustin, he has the tag championships, and he also have the trios championships. We can't just book him to do 2 matches in the same night. Now, while some people might feel like, damn, that would be unfair for him to put both titles on the line, these guys here in the room are feeling unsympathetic because they're just like, well, if you want to be a belt collector, you want to be titled up, then you should be able to defend those titles. Now, they go back to arguing about it. They're just like, hey, well, you know what? Who's going to be number one contender? All these teams feel like they should be number one contender. And then Jerry comes up with the idea that say, hey, we're gonna have a Texas bunkhouse match when the winner will be the number one contenders for the Ring of Honor Tag Championships at the next pay-per-view, which will be on September 5th. That's Death Before Dishonor in Philadelphia. That's actually really happening. So everybody's okay with this. So the tag titles will not be on the line for tonight, but it will be on for the next pay-per-view. So Dustin can have his little time to defend the trios titles later on in the night. All right, so for our pre-show matches, I haven't really thought of the order, to be honest with you, because I just don't really know. It's because it is not necessarily, none of these things are actually related to anything that's going on. I don't know necessarily what order I would put this in. So you do with what you want, what you will with it. So for me, I have Angelico going against Mascara Dorada. Angelico, he had, I don't want to say a lucha libre style, but it's very close, and I think that they would have really great chemistry with each other. Another thing that is really important, when I first started doing this whole fantasy booking thing was I thought to use like a CMLL versus Ring of Honor thing, because remember, for the past like 4 or 5 months ish this year, CMLL had been on the shows, but the one thing that AEW did not do with CMLL is actually have any of the CMLL wrestlers go against anybody in Ring of Honor, which is insane when I think about it. Well, no, wait, it happened one time. It happened one time with Commander and Blue Panther. Not Blue Panther, Dark Panther. That was the only time it ever happened. So I don't know. I thought about doing that, but to be honest with you, it was really difficult to come up with ideas because they never had these guys doing anything with the Ring of Honor wrestlers other than that one time for the TV title. So, like I said, Angelico versus Mascara Dorada, I would actually have Mascara Dorada end up taking the win. He's someone that I feel like they can actually use to help, you know, bring some stars up on the show. I do like Angelico, but that's just my choice here. Another one that people may not agree for a pre-show match is a women's match. Mayu Yamashita going against Marina Shafir. I totally, when I think about it, I'm just like, in my mind, I'm just like, pre-show? Would you really put this on a pre-show? The reason why I'm going to say pre-show is because Marina, I love Marina, but I first of all, I don't think she could be Mayu at all. But I do feel like this would be a really great opponent for her, and I think they will work well together. To be honest with you, I honestly not sure how great the chemistry would be. I'm not even gonna lie, but these two, I think could do something interesting, if anything. And I would have Marina taking the win. Like, she needs someone that she can go against where they'll make her look good. Like, Marina's been part of the Death Riders and nothing's really come out of that. And honestly, I don't think she's had the right opponents. I can't really remember anything that she's done before being in the Death Riders. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But I figured that someone like Yamashita could actually help her look pretty good and, you know, just give her a couple of more cool points with people. Last match on the pre-show that I would book, which would be Teton going against Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal has only been in Ring of Honor, I want to say, maybe 5 times since Tony Khan has bought it, which is criminal to me. I remember when they signed him and I thought, oh my gosh, Jay Lethal just gonna run the whole thing up in here in AEW, and that hasn't even happened at all. So that's a bit of a bummer. For this, I would have Teton win simply because he does have a title shot against Nick Wayne in the future for the Ring of Honor TV title. And I feel like with him having a couple of matches before he has that match for the TV title with Nick Wayne, which is actually happening on the show right now, that he should be able to do some matches, some one-on-one matches with some really great wrestlers within Ring of Honor, so people can, you know, rally behind him as a baby face. So I would have Teton take the win. Sorry, Jay, I love you, but I think it just makes a little bit more sense just to get people familiar with who Teton is. If you don't watch New Japan or CMLL, you may not know who he is, but a couple of matches before facing Nick Wayne for the actual TV title will definitely do him some justice. All right, main card. So, I wanted to start off with something pretty big. So, first match would actually be an open challenge for the Ring of Honor Pure title, the men's Pure title. Lee Moriarty had also did a open challenge for the last pay-per-view Final Battle back in December, so I figured we'll do that again. I don't want to see Lee Moriarty going against Blue Panther again, and not for no damn title. Sorry, it's just like nobody fucking cares about that. I think we could do a hell of a lot better for Lee in this situation. So Lee will come out with Shane Taylor, and he's basically saying that he's bored as fuck and he's looking for a real competitor. Now we cut to the big screen, and it is Rocky Romero coming into the building with Takeshita. Now the whole crowd is like, wait, what the fuck? I thought Takeshita was going to be the main event against Bandito. And I purposely having Rocky with Takeshita because right now, for real, we do have Don Callis, who is heavily focusing on Okada. Ever since he's joined forces with Okada, he has not been joining anyone else. So I figured I'd just keep going with that because they're going somewhere with that. I don't know where they're going with it, but whatever. So Rocky comes out with Takeshita when they're coming into the building, not to the ring. And he goes, oh, wait, Takeshita's not your problem. Don't worry about him. We got a bigger problem for you. And Hechi Seto comes out. I chose Hesishiro to go against Lee Moriarty because Lee Moriarty is a tremendous technical wrestler, and he needs to be challenged by someone who is on a similar level to him. You know what? I can honestly say, personally, I do find Hesishiro to be better in the ring than Lee Moriarty, but this is one of those situations where, as a technical wrestler, if Lee Moriarty can beat Hesishiro, like, this will definitely move him up the ranks when people just be like, holy shit, you beat him, you had a tremendous match with him and you beat him. So you guys know Pure Rules in this match. I don't want this to be something easy for Lee. I want it to be something where you see how great he is, but you also see a struggle and vulnerability from him. This match, you know, like when it comes to Pure Rules, you only have 3 rope breaks each. And I actually would have there being only 1 rope break in this whole motherfucking match, and that would be with Lee Moriarty very early in the match. And with that rope break, and every minute that gets by in the match, he is feeling some type of way, like, holy shit, like, this guy, no matter what submission I put him into, he is not tapping, he's not going for the ropes, he's not doing anything, and he is feeling like, okay, that vulnerability in terms of, I don't want to say like, is he good enough to be going against Hesishiro, but he's definitely going to be feeling the pressure to bring things up a hell of a lot harder when it comes to going against Hesishiro. I think like something like this to start off the show, it's kind of crazy, but I think this will definitely get people hyped up for the whole show all in all. For me, I would have Lee Moriarty retain, him putting Hesishiro in a sleeper from behind. Hesishiro falls onto his knees, still not giving up, but kind of fading a little bit. And when Lee realizes it's probably not going to go his way, he turns things around and goes for a triangle choke, and referee ends up going for the bell when Hesishiro is not even responsive. A match like that could be very, very detrimental for someone like Lee Moriarty to have something like this. So honestly, I think that this would be perfect if they were to that over than fucking Blue Panther. Blue Panther, we love you, but it's a no for me. Second match of the night, the women's TV title. Right now, our girl Red Velvet has been holding this title, I want to say almost a year. I was there last summer when she won it, and I thought it was pretty cool. I was literally sitting behind her family during that match while they watch her take the win and everything. And while I think she's been great, baby, it's time to move on. So I chose to do a 10-woman Rumble match. So the girls that I picked, I gotta have my phone out because I'm trying to remember everybody's name. Obviously Red Velvet, she's the champion. She's gonna come out first. Diamante, Kiara Hogan, Billy Starks, Nyla Rose, Trisha Dora, Willow Nightingale, Rachel Ellering, because why not? Momo Watanabe, who's from Stardom, La Catalina, who's from CMLL. I know we could have used other girls within Ring of Honor, but trust me, we're getting to why I didn't put these girls on that match. I wanted to put somebody from Stardom. I wanted to put somebody from from CMLL, because like I said, that Forbidden Door is literally in August, and I'm not feeling the presence at this point. So this is the reason why I put Momo and La Catalina in it. For this match, I don't necessarily have an idea in terms of order of elimination, but I would have Red Velvet's reign come to an end with Diamante for the win. And the reason why I am suggesting that is because I want things to go in a direction, and that includes what's going on with Diamante and Athena. So that's the route that I'm going to take with that. Now, after the match, we are having a video package to hype up the upcoming Women's Pure tournament. So they've announced this like 2-3 months ago, probably 3 months ago, maybe a little bit more. And nothing has come from it. They have announced only 5 girls to actually be part of the damn tournament, and nothing really has happened. There's been a couple of pure matches to actually take place, but overall, it's just like, when this tournament started, I don't know. And this doesn't seem to be the case for next week. So while we're having this hype video to showcase the girls that's going to be on there, after the video is over, Tony Khan or Jerry Lynn, somebody back there gonna come out there and basically on the stage they have like a podium with the title, and then they'll announce each girl to come out. Each girl will all come out lined up, against each other near the title, and everyone get a chance to see. This is a good thing because every time a girl come out, you hear the reaction from the crowd. You get a chance to hear how people, at least there in the crowd, are going to feel about each of these girls that are there. So you'll be able to hear their reaction. So I think that's a good thing. And I'm going to tell you, the girls that they've actually announced so far is Deanna, Serena, Layla Gray, Queen Aminata, Billy Starks. Those are the only ones they've actually announced. And then they've been teasing maybe Trisha Dora. So I put Trisha Dora, and then I put Emi Sakura. Y'all, I don't know how you're going to feel about this, but I don't give a fuck. I would not book any of these matches to happen at the pay-per-view. I will actually book all the matches, the entire tournament, to take place at Death Before Dishonor. And I know some of y'all just like, wait, what the fuck, why would you do that? That means that there would be at least five women's match on the show. So the fuck what? We need to make a difference when it comes to changing people's mind on women's wrestling. And if we're going to just sit here and complain about there being too many women's matches, why don't we complain about there being too many men's on the damn card? So for me, my inspiration for that was WrestleMania 4 for the vacant WWF Championship. And I thought that it would give these women so much more credibility if they can have multiple matches a night where you can have many women's matches, and also having some of these girls actually wrestle 2 to 3 times that night, I think would just be something completely different than what AEW Ring of Honor has ever done. And I would actually like that. So that's my idea on that, and something like that will be taking place at the next pay-per-view. I know it's something that probably will never happen, but you bet your dollar, like if I was running things, I would not hesitate to do a show like that. Okay, so probably one of my favorites in terms of my ideas, maybe my favorite idea I came up with, the Ring of Honor men's TV title. Right now, Nick Wayne is holding that title. I don't know. This one is very interesting. So this is another survival of the fittest match. 6 people come into the ring. I forgot how many minutes pass between everybody coming in. But 6 people will participate in the match. Last person standing is the winner. So this is obviously an elimination style match. So I'm going to name the people in order of elimination. The first person, Johnny TV. Sorry about it, bro. Love you though. Second person, Aaron Solo. I know y'all like Aaron Solo. Why? Because he's young, he's talented, and he does not get enough opportunities to be doing shit. Now, number 3 to get eliminated, Scorpio Sky. We paying you, baby, and you sitting at home. We putting you on the damn book, okay? And then the last 3 people who's going to be in the match are going to be AR Fox, Kip Sabian, and Nick Wayne. Yes, the brothers apparently are going to be in the ring, which is going to be Kip and Nick Wayne. So they're going to be in the same match. Throughout the match, our stepdaddy, Mama Wayne, you will be seeing like 2-3 seconds of them backstage watching the show or whatnot, watching the match and seeing what the boys are doing since they're both in the match. Like I said, I told you how to order in terms of elimination. So we're down to the last 3, which is going to be AR Fox, Kip, and Nick. And at this point, Nick and Kip have been pretty much teaming up on everybody in the match. And the same goes for AR Fox, where it's basically a handicap match to get his ass eliminated. Kip ends up eliminating AR Fox, and he eliminates him. And now everybody in the crowd is kind of feeling like some type of way, like, holy shit, it's you 2 guys left. I think it'd probably be pretty obvious that it probably ended with them 2 for the drama, obviously. And now it's Nick and Kip in the ring, and Nick looks at Kip and says, lay down. And Kip is like, what the fuck? Now the crowd is obviously feeling some type of way. Like, no, don't do that. Why would you lay down for him and let him pin you? Kip, he looks like he's thinking about it, but he's angry at the same time. And so Kip is standing, his back facing the big screen, and then Nick Wayne is standing in front of him while he's thinking about it. Then you see on the big screen, Stepdaddy and Mama Wayne are arguing backstage, and he is kind of in her face, not like domestic violence type of shit, but like kind of in her face in a way that any son would be upset. So Nick is seeing this on the screen, and he pushes Kip aside, and he's like, well, what the fuck is going on? Like, why are you all up in my mama's face and everything? He's watching this on the screen like everybody else, and he turns around, and Kip snatches him up and put him in his kill switch and pins him. 1, 2, and Nick kicks out, and he's like, what the fuck? Like, you trying to catch me off guard? So now at this point, Nick is definitely feeling some type of way about how Kip just came up at him, and obviously seeing what he just saw with our stepdaddy and Mama Wayne, and that gets him to, both of them to really, really amp it up for like the next, about a couple of more minutes, before we have Nick, who snatches up Kip for a kill switch, and he's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And he ends up pushing him towards the corner, and then he goes to the opposite corner, and then he's watching, he's waiting for Kip to get his ass up, and then he hits Kip with a spear. Oh my gosh, like, I would fucking mark out if some shit like that would have happened, like hitting him with a spear. And obviously because of our boy Adam Copeland, and in a way to intimidate Christian, I think that would be fucking amazing. After the match, Kip is obviously upset. Nick is upset, but at least he retained, and he's making his way to the back, and we see stepdaddy and Mama Wayne. Mama Wayne is celebrating, but Christian looks like he's just been challenged. It's a good idea. All right, so we have a trio scramble match. So for this, let me just say, there's not that many trios when you really think about it. Without you having to put random people together, there's not that many trios within AEW. Matter of fact, you really can't put many trios together, the ones that we have, without y'all putting random people together. So right now, the 6-man tag titles are held by Dustin and the Von Erichs. The Von Erichs has only bothered to show up, I want to say 4 times since they won the titles since August of last year, y'all. I'm so fucking annoyed about it. I know a lot of people are as well. So in this situation, what is happening here is, let's just say like 2 weeks ago, the son, well, not Sons of Texas, Dustin and the Von Erichs, they're backstage, and the frat house approaches them, and there's 4 of them, the frat house, and there's only 3 of them, and they're getting their faces being annoying. While they're doing that, the Dark Order, who they've been beefing with for like the past 2 months now, comes and attack them from behind, because, you know, there's a beef and it's always going to be on site. And that happens, so now it's just the frat house and Dark Order just arguing and fighting over there, and this use of security guard go to stop what they're doing. And then here is the Von Erichs and Dustin walking away, and they bump into TMDK, which is from New Japan. There's quite a few people in that group, so I only chose 3 of them, which is going to be Shane Hayes, Mikey Nichols, and Robbie Eagles. They've been featured on Ring of Honor several times since Tony Khan has bought the company. I'll put a picture in case y'all don't know who I'm talking about. And they end up challenging them for the trios titles. Now, the other teams, they hear this and they stop what they're doing. It's like, oh, hell no. Man, we in this company, we don't know where y'all coming from. But we should be going for the titles. And then we end up getting ourselves into a scramble match with all 4 of these teams. I did choose to put the Mighty Don't Kneel in this because, like I said, Forbidden Door is around the corner, and I want that door to be open. So, you know, we got these 4 teams going for the 6-man tag titles. We have Dark Order, who is accompanied by -1. And then we have the frat house, who have their pledges. Every week they have new people who are trying to get into this little ass group they got going on. So they got them and they're ringside. For me, I thought this was really difficult in terms of, like, should the Von Erichs and Dustin retain? because I don't know how I feel about the other teams actually picking up the win and taking the titles. I wasn't really sure, but I'm gonna just be honest that I'm at the point where it's like I don't care if people in the parking lot are holding these titles at this point. Like, we need something different. So what I had came up with was to get rid of one of the teams, and to get rid of one of the teams, the frat house, they have their pledges, and Jack Jameson is basically like, hey, if you want to be in the frat house, then y'all gonna have to go kidnap -1. So they obviously want to join. I know this sounds stupid and kind of cheesy or whatever, but it works because they end up getting their hands on -1 and taking him to the back, while obviously Dark Order is in the ring and they're not paying attention. They don't know what's going on. And then Alex Reynolds turned around. He's like, where's -1? Why isn't he here? And then they realize what's happening when we see like a quick little footage on the screen of them taking -1 backstage or whatever. So now Dark Order, they're feeling some type of way, and they end up leaving the match to go help obviously little Brody, who's by himself. Now that leaves only 3 teams in the ring. And I know this sounds really crazy, but I decided for the frat house to take the win. I know people are just gonna be like, what the fuck? I'm really huge on opportunities. Like, I feel like this is a team that people would not suspect to win. But I figured I would not give it to the Mighty Don't Kneel, because they're not Ring of Honor guys, so they're not going to be around. And I wanted to have a team that will literally be a motherfucking round, which is why I chose for the frat house to win. They're young, they need the experience, and they're heels, so why the fuck not? And for them to take the win, that's great, because they still have this feud going on with Dark Order that leaves the door open for a bigger feud to take place between the Dark Order, simply because they just kidnapped a little child, and that's obviously going to make things even worse. And now with that the 6-man tag titles, you know, on the frat house, that's definitely something that the Dark Order is going to be looking to get their hands on. And this is how you cook in terms of a feud. You hear that, Tony Khan? Go ahead and take my idea. It's cool. It's cool. All right, 5th match. Texas Bunkhouse Brawl. The last time we had a Bunkhouse Brawl, it was actually for the Ring of Honor tag titles. It was like Collision, I want to say, and it was the Kingdom going against Sons of Texas, obviously Dustin and Sammy. I don't know if y'all even remember that shit, but that was like last year, I believe. So I wanted to bring that back because initially, before Wednesday, I had it the idea of it being a Texas death match, and I just felt like I don't want to use the word Texas death match now that that is literally a thing for All In with Moxley and Hangman. So I was like, let me scrap that and we'll just do the Bunkhouse because it's very still similar. But I wanted to do a Texas theme since they're in Texas. So I came up with the idea of them using things that like you would see like in farms. And with a Bunkhouse, you dress down. You don't necessarily wear your ring gear. So I wanted them to, all the teams to have like Texas type of clothing, you know, stuff that you would see like on a farm, or cowboys, or something related to like the Texas like football teams or baseball team. I don't know anything about that shit, but something where this is for the crowd specifically, where when they see these things that they can relate to the items being used as weapons, and they can relate to how the wrestlers are dressed based off of the whole Texas theme. And this match will take place starting in the parking lot, moving into the building, into the concession stands, and then making their way out to the ring. Even though I want it to be like more of a Texas theme thing, I still do want, you know, regular weapons that they would typically use to still be used in this match. And I think that something like this would be so great for Gates of Agony that I really, really enjoy. The Workhorsemen, which is an amazing team. I love them, love them, love them. Top Flight, Jesus Christ. I can't stress it enough about Top Flight and how I feel like they get overlooked a lot. And then the Infantry, which is another team that I am very heavy on right now, especially because they are in a really big faction that I feel like can really be taken over Ring of Honor. This was not an easy decision for me to make because I was trying not to be biased. But then they made this decision a little bit easier for me when they had actually announced in real life that Top Flight was going to go against the Infantry this past Thursday. Winner of that would go against Sons of Texas. So since the Infantry won, I decided, fuck it. They'll have that bunkhouse match and the Infantry will still take the win to go against Sons of Texas. But that would actually have to take place not at Supercard of Honor. That would end up taking place at the next pay-per-view, which is Death Before Dishonor. And having that gap between the pay-per-views, I think, is a really good thing because now we have other teams that's going to feel like, you know, we can take that place. Like, y'all literally having these other teams trying to kind of like chase at fucking both teams. Actually, Sons of Texas, they have their titles. They can lose the titles before then. Who cares? Whoever has the titles by then, doesn't matter. The Infantry has won that slot to be in that match, and then any other team will probably feel like, hey, we could take out the Infantry before we even get to that damn pay-per-view. So that definitely keeps the door open to having some more feuds, some more matches in between that time to make things a little bit more interesting for the tag division. All right, match number 6. For me, I was not sure if I should do the women's title or the men's world title. I was not sure. I kept going back and forth about it, and like I literally wrote a question mark in my notes in terms of what to do, in terms of what will be the main event. So ultimately, I know this is gonna be crazy because some of y'all don't give a fuck about women's wrestling, but I chose for Bandito to go against Takeshita next instead of for the last match. So basically, kind of like a co-main event type of situation. Simply because, to be honest with you, Bandito, I have actually been impressed with him since he's won this title. However, I have not been impressed with anything that he's done on Ring of Honor because he really has been featured there. I've enjoyed him on AEW TV, and he's really impressed me since he's been in Mexico this past like 2-3 weeks. They've been over there, and I'm loving what I'm seeing. But I have not seen anything from him within Ring of Honor that would make me want to put him in the main event. So as I said earlier, to kind of keep things going with the theme with Don Callis family, Rocky Romero will still be out there, kind of looking at Rocky to be like that next figure after Uncle Don to, like, you know, to be in charge or something like that. Because like I said, obviously the focus is on Okada right now with Uncle Don. And he'll be out there ringside with Takeshita. If you watch New Japan, Rocky has also been ringside with Takeshita over there as well, and they've been cheating with each other and everything to help each other win their matches and shit. So, you know, it's not very far-fetched based off the things that I've been watching throughout all these promotions these past few months. Takeshita is going to be in the biggest tournament in pro wrestling in a few weeks from now, which is the G1 Climax in New Japan. And he's actually my pick to win the whole motherfucking thing. And a lot of people are choosing Takeshita to win that. And because of that, and simply because of that, that is the reason why I would not book Takeshita to win the Ring of Honor World title. I would actually have him lose. And I debated with this for a while because I do feel like Don Callis family has been taking L's when it really matters the most. And I know that this really matters, but it's okay for him to lose an opportunity to win the Ring of Honor World title over him losing the whole fucking G1 tournament and then going on to Wrestle Kingdom next year to go against most likely Zack Sabre Jr. for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. So that's the reason why I booked it this way. And hopefully after this, we can actually find something for Bandito to do in terms of a story. And my next pick in terms of someone that I feel like could possibly get the title off of him are two people that I have in mind, which is Shane Taylor and Dustin Rhodes. I know y'all probably not feeling the Dustin thing, but honestly, I do feel like I would not mind seeing Dustin holding this title sometime in the near future. But really, I would put a heavy focus on Shane Taylor to be the next one to take the title off of Bandito at some point. However, Bandito, I would definitely take things up a notch with him after retaining with a match like that from Takeshita. Could possibly be match of the night too. Main event would be for the women's title, Athena. This is the 7th match on the card that I'm doing, the last match, because I really feel like we don't have to do too much. I did the show in a way where you're seeing a hell of a lot of people being focused on here, and you're gonna feel like you've gotten your money's worth by the end of the night. So instead of a whole bunch of singles matches and things like that, this feels like you saw damn near almost a whole roster throughout the night, which is a good thing. So 7 matches on the main card, 3 matches on the pre-show is just fine with me. Athena with the title for over 2.5 years, y'all. Going against Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa, since she's been back, I honestly don't know what the fuck is going on with her in AEW. And to be honest with you, after Toni Storm with the title, I would have loved to see Thunder Rosa win it next. But would I like to see her win the Ring of Honor Women's Championship? This is another one where I debated, where I'm just like, should she win? Should she not win? I don't know. Ultimately, I decided for Athena to retain. And I chose this because I wanted to have a big story for her before losing the title. All year, Athena hasn't really been into any story. The last time I feel like she was in an invested story was when she had a feud with Nyla Rose sometime last year. The thing with her and Billy Starks keep going and kind of having really no direction. So honestly, I didn't want to go with Billy versus Athena for like the 4th or 5th time again. So I chose for her to retain. Thunder Rosa, she'll be fine losing because we can put her on fucking AEW and she'll be able to be fine over there, I hope. Possibly getting TBS title, maybe even the women's title at some point. I don't know. But I wanted to give Athena a big storyline before she actually ends up dropping the title. So Athena, she's going to retain with the help of Diamante. Diamante, who obviously won the TV title earlier that night, who obviously came up to her earlier basically saying, hey, you know, you and I were supposed to have a thing and all of a sudden you dropped me and whatever. And they've joined forces together. Billy Starks is feeling some type of way because she's supposed to be like minion number 1 or whatever. And, you know, should be helping, being her henchman, doing her dirty work. But Diamante comes to the rescue to help. Now, Diamante and Athena are celebrating. And the people in Texas, they'll be happy with this too. We love Athena here in Texas, so I think they'll be happy with it. Obviously, with the cheating, might make them feel some type of way, but whatever, she retains. And while she is celebrating with Diamante in the ring, some music hit, and everybody's like, who the fuck is that? And then our girl, Mercedes Martinez, comes out. So Mercedes come out, and she goes on the mic and she cuts a little promo and says, this is my fault. This is my fault that this bitch has had this reign of terror for over 2.5 years. And since it's my fault, I'm going to do something about it and come get that title off of you. If you guys don't remember, back in 2023, Final Battle pay-per-view, Athena beat Mercedes Martinez for the Ring of Honor Women's Championship, and she's been champion ever since December 10th, 2023. And obviously Mercedes is feeling some type of way. She's back. We haven't seen her in God knows how long in Ring of Honor. And she goes on to say to Diamante, like, whatever y'all two got going on, like, I am willing to put our friendship in the trash to get my hands on that title from Athena. And basically we end the show off with that. So at least not only are matches finishing, but we're also starting things. We're finishing things. We're taking things to other, levels and putting these stories to move forward. Because it's a problem that I'm feeling like with Ring of Honor, where it's just like we start something and we don't really have that's the issue with the show, is there's no true direction in terms of where are they going. Like literally anything could happen next week, and it's just like none of this shit really makes sense with what happened last week and the week before or last year. And so, everything that I had put on here, I put a lot of thought into it because I feel like something's happening, and whatever just happened today is going to lead to what's going to happen next week and the week after that and the pay-per-view after that. Like, there has to be a payoff, there has to be follow-ups and everything, and I just feel like it's one of those things that's been lacking within Ring of Honor. And honestly, if we can just be consistent with the booking, if we could just tell stories that people can be invested in, then that could make for a really great show. So, just starting with a pay-per-view and trying to make things, make changes and just make something happen in terms of, okay, I saw this happen at pay-per-view. What am I going to see next week? Things are playing out on the show where it's going to make you want to see what happened next week. People don't want to see what's going to happen with Mercedes Martinez and Athena. Will she be able to take that title off her and end this reign of terror of her being the forever champion? What's going to happen with Billy Starks and Diamante? Will she end up feuding with her and them end up having a TV title match somewhat in the future? Obviously, the whole thing with Nick Wayne and Kip and our stepdaddy, what's going to happen with that? That even could play out on AEW TV as well. And then obviously Lee Moriarty, and then the Pure TV title, no, not Pure TV title, Pure title for the women's, all that stuff. Like, I really thought about these things in terms of where is it going to go. I didn't want to just come up with shit just to say, hey, this is just a good show for a pay-per-view. No, I want people to feel invested in what would have happened after that. So I hope you guys liked my ideas. I fucking love pro wrestling, and I just want to see them succeed. Like, even when it seems like sometimes my reviews can be harsh or whatever, I think it's so important to be honest about what you're seeing, and hopefully the right people, Tony Khan, Ring of Honor, AEW, whoever back there, would be watching this or just anything else in terms of what the consumer thinks of the show, and just be like, you know what, they're right. We got to do more. We got to do better. And if we really want to be successful, more successful, you're going to always want to have more success, then we have to do better. So you guys, let me know what you thought about this. And if you would like to see me do content like this for something else in the future, let me know, because it's actually fun and not necessarily easy to sit there on my own by myself coming up with ideas. But this is the best I can do, especially since there's not much going on with Ring of Honor to begin with. So I kind of felt like I had to start from scratch, kinda. But this was actually a fun thing to do. We already do that as fans anyway, kind of come up with our own ideas in terms of what we want to see. But this was actually pretty great. And if Tony Khan, you watching, baby, any idea you heard today, feel free to take it. Feel free to take it. I think the fans will actually like that. Guys, thanks so much for watching my video. I'll see you guys in the next one.